Good morning, everyone. My name is Ana Armenta. I am the Arizona Racing Commission Secretary. Chair, would you like me to start?
Yes, ma'am.
Today is February 8th, 2024, the 720th Arizona Racing Commission regular meeting taking place via Google Meets. I will do the roll call. Chair Coolidge,
Present.
Vice Chair Olson,
Present.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Here.
Commissioner York.
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum. It is 10 a.m. and the floor is yours, Chair.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll call to order the 720th Arizona Racing Commission meeting of Thursday, February 8th, 2024. Jumping right into things, just as a point of order, wanted to prevent any confusion moving forward as the commission moves down the agenda. Moving forward, we will only be allowing public comment for agenda items B and E, which is the public comment, and also agenda items for review and discussion, not anything within the committee reports or information reports, just as again, as a point of order. We'll move down to B1, the Racing Commission to select a chair and vice chair for 2024. Do we have any nominations for said chair?
Chair Coolidge, I just
Ma'am?
wanted to understand. Yes, please. I wanted to understand what you'd like to do moving forward.
I'm sorry, I don't understand that request. What I would like to do?
Right. Are you interested in staying as chair?
Should the commission nominate me for chair, I would be happy to continue to serve at the will of the governor or the will of the commission, but I've been chair for a couple of years and would happy to let someone else join if there was another nomination.
Okay. That's what I was looking for.
Do we have any nominations?
I guess I have another question. Vice Chair Olson, what is your intent?
Hi, Commissioner York. I'm happy to serve as vice chair if appointed and voted upon. But I'm also happy to, defer and let somebody else have the opportunity.
Okay. With that understanding, then I wish to nominate Commissioner French Contreras as chair.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure, I'll second that. Madam Secretary?
Thank you. I have a motion by Commissioner York and a second by Chair Coolidge. I will take the roll call. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
With the total of 4 yeses, thank you. That motion passes.
And before handing the gavel off, I'll finish B1 for the new chair. Do we have any nominations for the vice chair for 2024?
Chairman Coolidge, I'd be happy to nominate Tracy Olson to be vice chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll accept the nomination.
I will second that.
Thank you. I have a motion by Commissioner French Contreras and a second by Chair Coolidge. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
With a total of 4 yeses, thank you. That motion passes.
Congratulations, Chair. Wish you nothing but the best. And if I can be of any help moving forward, you know how to contact me.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's kind of trial by fire. So I'll try and get through this agenda unless you'd like to go ahead and why don't you just complete this meeting and go through this agenda and then we'll go from there.
Sure. Yeah, I can do that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we'll drop down to action item B2, request for Turf Paradise for Pima County Fair Horse Racing Commission race days to be run at Turf Paradise on the following dates: March 7th, March 14th, March 21st, March 28th, all in 2024. Does the commission, or excuse me, does the department have any additional requests or suggestions upon this item?
Yes, sir, Chairman. Are we on item B2 or B3?
B2, sir. Or excuse me, I apologize. I moved to B3, so let's jump into B3 and then I'll go back up to B2.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The department did receive the request from Turf Paradise and the contract between Turf Paradise and the Pima County Fair Horse Racing Commission. We also did receive a letter from Pima County Fair Horse Racing Commissions stating it was unanimously passed on January 11th to allow Turf to run these dates. By allowing Turf to run these dates, it will enable the Pima County Fair Horse Racing Commission to increase their fundraising in Pima County to keep supporting horse racing.
Sounds great. Commissioner York? Commissioner Olson?
Thank you,
I'm
Chair.
sorry. I was on mute. My apologies. I was on mute.
No problem.
I was just wondering how many additional races each day are being added to the card with these county fair races.
Mr. Duncan?
Yes, if it pleases the commission, I will pass that on to Mr. Johnson, Dave Johnson.
Mr. Johnson?
Yeah, Chairman, Chairwoman, Commissioners, this is Dave Johnson, Turf Paradise. There will be no additional races that would be run on that day. The way this works is that the race card that is run at Turf Paradise on those days will go down as county fair race dates, and Turf will accept a management fee, which is defined in the contract. And then the remainder of the revenue would go down to the Pima County Horse Racing Commission. So it will just be the regular card that is drawn and offered for that day.
Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate that clarification.
Commissioner Olson?
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Duncan, based on the department's review and investigation, or the review of this request, is it the department's position that this is in the best interest of racing to allow these dates?
Vice Chair Olson, yes, the department does recommend the approval of this. It will benefit both horse racing and especially Pima County.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan.
I also have a hand raised from, I believe it's, Doc, tell me your last name.
Dr. Joanne DeFilippo, and I'm the chair of the Pima County Fair Horse Racing Commission. I just want to point out, because I'm not sure if maybe some of the commissioners know, this is a practice that has been going on since probably back to the late 1980s. It was written in the legislation, and it was a way in which Pima County fairs, if they were not running race days at their home tracks, they could, oftentimes it was referred to as sell their days to another track. You don't really sell it, but that was just a term that was used. You basically assign it. So we're just actually following a process that has, I believe it's since 1987, I want to see, in the legislature.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate the input there. That said, I'll move that we approve the request from Turf Paradise for Pima County Fair Horse Racing Commission days as disposed before.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner or Vice Chair Olson. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Donatus,
Commissioner York,
Yes.
how do you like her accent? She's got a good accent, huh?
with a total of 4 yeses. Thank you. That motion passes.
Mr. Johnson, your mic is live, so please go on mute. We'll drop down to B2, request from Turf Paradise for off-track betting facilities. Stingers Sports Bar located at 10040 North 43rd Avenue, Suite 1H. That's in Glendale, 85302. Mr. Duncan, do you have any updates on this request?
Yes, sir. The department did receive all the paperwork along with the city approval for Stinger Sports Bar. Turf Paradise was the last track to have this in operation in October of 22. The owner of Stingers was licensed by the department. If the department does, the commission does approve, the division will again inspect it prior to giving them consent to commence operations. The department will also at that time make sure that all other employees are licensed as well.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for my commissioners on this item?
Chair, just one quick question.
Ma'am?
So, Mr. Duncan, are you recommending then a conditional approval pending the pending the inspection?
Vice Chair Olson, yes, the department would recommend approval upon the commission's approval and an inspection.
Okay. Unless anyone has any questions, I'm ready to make a motion.
Ma'am?
I'd like to move to conditionally approve the request from Turf Paradise for off-track betting facility Stinger Sports Bar, as submitted with the completed application and department's recommendation, pending the department's inspection and check on licensing, and to empower the department to act without further action from the department or from the commission.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Vice Chair Olson and a second by Chair Coolidge. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4 yeses. Thank you. That motion, and to be clear, was that on conditional approval?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Drop down to B4, the simulcast agreements to ARS 5-112U. The commission can go into executive session should it be needed on these items. It looks like it will be for Turf Paradise, Remington Park, and Will Rogers Downs. Mr. Duncan, looks like all the paperwork is in order for these two, but wanted to confirm that there were no issues on your end.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, all paperwork is in order, and the department does recommend approval.
Thank you. Any comments or concerns from my commissioners on these?
No.
Chair, I can make a motion.
Ma'am?
I'd like to move to approve simulcast agreements pursuant to ARS 5-112U for Turf Paradise, Remington Park, and Will Rogers Downs.
I'll second that.
Thank you. I have a motion by Vice Chair Olson and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4 yeses. Thank you. That motion passes.
Go down to B5, simulcast horse racing import signals pursuant to IHA section 3004A3. Again, the commission can go into executive session if needed on this. Mr. Duncan, looks like we have a couple of pendings, but wanted to open it up to you for any further information on these two items.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I do have a quick update on the agenda items in B5. Both, as you say, are missing documentation. But however, on item A1 for Remington Park, their meet actually runs through June 1st of 2024. The Arizona HBPA agreement only runs through May 31st of 2024. So therefore, there is the last day at Remington that still needs to be approved by the Arizona HBPA. I just wanted to make sure that commission was aware of it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Any other questions for my commissioners on these?
Just, should we then amend the approval through the 31st of this year, of May?
We can do a conditional approval on Remington Park. We'll probably make two motions, or I'll make two motions unless someone else wants
Okay.
to. But I would do a conditional approval for Remington Park pursuant that they receive the paperwork for the additional day. Any other questions? Okay. I'll make an approval that we approve Turf Paradise's Remington Park, or conditional approval on Remington Park in that they receive the prerequisite information and get everything to the department as required for the race meet, particularly the HVPA's documentation, and leave it to the department to expedite that paperwork once everything is in order.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
With a total of 4 yeses, thank you. That motion passes with conditional approval.
I'd also like to move that we conditionally approve Turf Paradise's Will Rogers Downs in that they receive all the the department receives all the prerequisite information and leave it to the department to expedite that document once all matters are in order.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Vice Chair Olson. I will call the roll. Chair
Yes.
Coolidge, Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
With a total of 4 yeses, thank you. That motion passes with conditional approval.
Thank you. We'll drop down to information reports. Dr. Gale or Mr. Estrada, any updates for us? I think we have a fair amount of items that were in order.
I can start if that's all right.
Yes, ma'am. Look forward to it.
Okay, thank you, Chair Coolidge, Commissioners. It's been a busy meet. We got started a week ago Monday, and actually the week before that even started with doing some vet list works. We are operating in cooperation with the Horse Racing Integrity Safety Authority as well as the Horse Racing Integrity Welfare Unit. HIWU is the testing arm of HISA. HISA is more of the safety realm. And what that has meant in terms of changes for us, number one is the void claim rule. And we have had 3 void claims voided in these first 7 days of racing. There have been 21 other claims that have passed their post-race exam for being sound. We've got on staff this year, besides myself, Dr. Butler is the association vet. For the state staff, we also have Dr. Victoria Lowe and Dr. Leah Cole. And they are splitting 2 days a week each. And they serve as additional testing personnel, as well as the void claim exams and any other afternoon tasks. That was one requirement from HISA, was to have a third vet on the grounds during races. To date, there have been 3 horses that have had to be euthanized. One was due to illness, did not respond to treatment and had to be put down. We had 2 during training. One was a horse that bled through the nostrils and the lungs. The second one was an injury that was catastrophic. During the races itself, we've really not had any terrible incidents, any serious incidents. We had a couple horses get loose. We've had horses that will flip and they are scratched. Other than that, in terms of pre-race scratches for horses that have been unsound on exam, we've had 4 out of about 500 starts. We've had 1 unsound horse scratched on track at the gate. And there was 1 other horse that got loose and injured itself, so it wound up being scratched. The second piece that is additional, we've been trained and certified as HIWU sample collectors. This is the sample collection is much the same, but it's a paperless system that we're using to record the who's being tested and the barcode numbers on the sample containers. HIWU has increased our testing requirements by about 40%. So we're testing about half again as many horses. And we have reinstituted testing for bicarbonate TCO2, which is the usual term or the jargon is milk shaking. It's giving horses a baking soda to try to reduce their lactic acid buildup. But we're testing for those maybe a dozen horses a week. So we've been able to increase our workload. Dr. Butler, again for HISA, there are additional requirements besides horses that are unsound on the vet list, horses that are 4-year-old and have not raced, and also horses that have been off more than a year are required to work off the vet list, as if including an exam before the work, a proper work in a proper time, and blood testing following. So that's been keeping Dr. Butler quite busy during the morning work time. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Dr. Gale, this is Candace French Contreras. What was the illness that required the horse to be euthanized?
The horse was suffering from colic. It was being treated at one of the local equine hospitals. And at the one point, exploratory surgery was a recommendation, but the owner declined. And because of this ongoing, the horse's condition deteriorating, the euthanasia was elected.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Commissioner York?
Dr. Gale, you mentioned 3 other vet names. I'm familiar with Dr. Butler. She's the track vet. The other 2 vets, are they on your staff or the tracks?
Dr. Lowe, Dr. Victoria Lowe is a state vet, as well as Dr. Leah Cole. So they've been added to the department staff.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gale. Unless we have any other questions, we'll open it up for Mr. Roush or Mr. Estrada,
Thank you.
if there are any updates there.
Sir, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, the only update I have is we still have an outstanding list that was given to Turf Paradise that we will continue to monitor as the meet goes on and report once it's all completed. Mr. Roush should have a follow-up on some of those items.
Commissioner York, do you want to let Mr. Roush follow up, or do you have a question for Mr. Estrada?
I have a question for Mr. Estrada. First, I wanted to thank him and everyone in the department that worked so diligently to get through all of this and make this happen. I did want to ask, because the list of outstanding items is quite extensive, do you think it would be possible moving forward to put it in a spreadsheet that would show what the item is, who owns it, what the target date is to get it completed? I'm not saying we have to go through it in this meeting, but maybe it could just be made available as an addendum.
So Commissioner York, to answer your question, some of those items are items that are probably going to be items that they will probably have to rectify as the season goes on. I can definitely put them in a spreadsheet. But again, although a lot of those are just items that, because there's horses on the ground, it's going to be a lot harder for them to address in an expeditious manner. But I want to make sure that you guys are aware that we're on it and we know that those items are being looked at and hopefully rectified before the meet is over.
Okay, thank you. We'll just look forward to your monthly updates then.
Mr. Roush?
Good morning, Chair Coolidge, new Chair Contreras, congratulations, and commissioners. There has been some gradual progress made on the compliance list handed down to Turf Paradise. I will submit that list, the updated list, to you the beginning of this upcoming week, but there are still a few items that require attention. But I definitely will hand that updated list to you the beginning of next week.
Appreciate it, sir. No, the department and Turf Paradise have been hustling to get all that done. So just appreciate everyone's efforts and look forward to the permittee report, specifically with Turf Paradise on outstanding items and how we're going to be tackling the rest of this. Any other comments or questions from the commissioners? Okay, we'll move down to the,
No.
ma'am,
No, go ahead. Go
we'll
ahead.
drop down to the budget report.
Good morning, Chair Coolidge. This is Latrina Roseman here to give you an update for the monthly budget report. Our cash balance is currently at $2,286,000. We are projecting our expenses to be $2.2 million through the end of the year. And as indicated before, we still have to give out $250,000 in Breeders' Awards. That's per statute. The regulatory wager and $467 for the month of January. There was no parimutuel tax collected due to the race being started like on the 29th. Those recap sheets are due at the end of the day after the race, so that wasn't actually collected in the month of January. So it's reporting zero. We have dark day assessments for $2,275. License fees for boxing was $10,714. And the license fees for racing was $26,612. It will go down to the expenses for the year, for this month, I'm sorry. The payroll and employee related expenses was $41,933,000. That's a little lower than previous months. During the nose race days, when employees within the gaming department worked in other areas, we allocated those charges to various departments. The legal cost was $10,877,000. And then all other contracted services. Yes, Prince Contreras?
No, go ahead. I'll wait until you're done and then I'll ask you.
Sure. All the other contracted services was $84,745,000 for the month. So you can ask your questions. The other ones is just going to be a picture of kind of what I just stated.
Thank you, Ms. Roseman. So I understand our vet positions have been filled now. We actually have vets, and those are paid through the state, or are they on the payroll for gaming?
They will be on the payroll for gaming.
Okay, so that payroll expense then will go up?
That is correct, and that will be reflected next month.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Next slide, please. And here's again a depiction of our appropriation. Our yearly appropriation is $2.3 million. And this is just showing you where we stand as far as the month of January. And then our next picture is our racing slide. And this is our cash balance as of January. So we are right at our spending level for right below it, right here, showing in green, that I indicated on the other slide. And that's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions from my commissioners? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll drop down to the legislative update with Mr. Max.
Good morning, Chairman Coolidge, members of the commission. For the record, Max Hargraves, the ledge liaison at the Arizona Department of Gaming. Today is the 32nd day of the 2024 legislative session. We have seen 1,629 bills introduced this session. Specifically to racing, we are tracking 6 bills. A couple I wanted to cover specifically are House Bill 2415 and Senate Bill 1260. House Bill 2415 is the Arizona Racing Commission continuation bill, which was unanimously passed through House Land, Agriculture, and Rural Affairs on Monday. As a reminder, this bill would continue the Arizona Racing Commission for 2 years until 2026. This 2-year continuation is in line with an Auditor General recommendation to align the sunset dates of the Arizona Racing Commission, the Arizona Department of Gaming, and the Arizona Boxing and Mixed Martial Arts Commission. So this 2-year continuation would finish that alignment of the 3 entities. Senate Bill 1260 is another bill I wanted to touch on. This bill would prohibit simulcast wagering on dog racing. Specifically, it prohibits simulcasts of dog racing that originate outside the continental U.S. beginning on July 1st, 2024, and then prohibits all simulcasts of dog racing in Arizona beginning in 2029. This bill did pass through Senate Finance and Commerce on Monday unanimously as well. On Monday, February 5th, just recently was the last day bills could be introduced to the legislature. So, and all bills that have been introduced will need to be passed through their chamber of their originating chamber rather by by Friday, February 16th. So, just over a week from now. If a bill is not heard and passed through their originating chamber by this date, it is effectively dead. As such, we typically see a large portion of the bills die by this date, essentially, in every legislative session. I'll continue to update the commission as the relevant bills move forward, and with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Not on my part, Max. Appreciate all the updates and all the help behind that for all the rest of the commissioners. Any other questions or comments from the commissioners?
No, thank you. I appreciate the update, Max.
Okay, we'll drop down to C4, the information regarding the enforcement proceedings discussed by Ms. Holland and call to the public, including Ms. Is the AAG on to make an update there?
Yes, Chairman. Val Marciano here. I'm assigned to the Arizona Department of Gaming by the Attorney General's office, and I've been asked to speak on item C4.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Chairman and Commission members. I want to point out, first I want to say this matter is on the agenda at the request of a Commission member following the comments by a public member at the last January 12th racing meeting. You'll note that this item is under information reports and is not under action item. And the reason for that is this matter is, was there a comment? No. This matter is not presented for any rehearing before this commission. I do want to comment that this commission has oversight and authority to rehear matters, licensing and regulatory matters of the department under ARS section 5-104. But that the commission acts in an adjudicatory capacity when a party, a licensee, is aggrieved by a decision of the department and exercises a right to appeal to this commission under Administrative Code section R-2-124. If an appeal is initiated, that confers jurisdiction on this body and then triggers the adjudicatory capacity to review or rehear the matters or decisions of the department. And the reason why I raise that here is that is not the case in this instance. The circumstances surrounding the matters that was a public comment in January 12 occurred back approximately 6 months ago. And it is those circumstances that I'll speak to now and report to the commission. The stewards made a ruling, and under Administrative Code Section R 19-2-123, the aggrieved parties have rights to appeal to the director of the department of the steward's rulings. In this case, that occurred, and an appeal was taken to the department of the director. And when an appeal occurs, the Administrative Procedures Act under Title 41 is to be followed. And there is, ARS Section 41-1092.06, subsection A, that allows a party, an appellant, to ask for an informal settlement conference. That would be between the department and the licensees, and who are the appellants. That's by law, and upon a request, the department is obligated and required to hold an informal settlement conference. In the matters raised at the last January 12, 2024 commission meeting, a informal settlement conference was conducted, and a resolution was reached between the department and the appellants in that case. And to put it simply, resolution is a settlement is a resolution of two opposing views. The department, that settlement was memorialized in a settlement agreement, and it resolved the entire matter approximately 6 months ago. So at this juncture, the commission does not have review authority over the decisions made by the department in this case, unlike a situation where, like I described, an appellant seeks review of a department's decision to this commission. And I will not focus on the substantive issues or facts or circumstances surrounding those matters for two reasons. One, this is not a rehearing of the matter that would be under subsection B, and which would trigger this commission's adjudicatory capacity to review those decisions. And number two, the department wants to be judicious and provident in discussing matters that are fully resolved in a settlement conference and are not subject to review by this tribunal. And that is the report.
Thank you, ma'am. Looks like we have a couple of commissioners speaking. Commissioner French Contreras.
Mrs. Marciano, so if I understand correctly, the stewards make a decision. If the parties don't agree to that, then they appeal up to the department.
Correct.
And then if there's not a settlement or they still don't agree with what's happened, only then does it come to the commission?
Correct.
So my concern is a transparency issue. There was obviously, it was an emotional discussion in January, and it was the first that the commission has heard about it. Is it a conflict of interest for the commission to be notified of Stewart rulings and any applications, or if there's something ongoing like this, such as even a matrix or reporting matrix of these are the applications that have come in, or these are the actions that the department's working on now, and how that's proceeded just by name, a matrix, just by name, what it is, what it was about, and status, without giving us any details of the case, just so we're not blindsided by this and the public doesn't feel like they're not being heard or there's not a transparency issue.
Commissioner French Contreras, I understand the interest of the commission members in viewing matters as they transpire, but in doing so, and I'm not giving legal advice in this, but from a practical perspective that could taint or impact or influence the members of this body in reviewing a prior decision. So I would respectfully, Commissioner French Contreras, suggest that this body retain its review capacity, adjudicatory capacity of matters by not becoming involved or in matters that are below or down at the department level. But certainly the commission can go into executive session with counsel, independent counsel, if it would like further advice on that.
Yeah, I would make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Thank you. With the motion by Commissioner French Contreras and a second by, I believe that was Commissioner York?
Yeah, I don't think I'm speaking loud enough. Yes.
Yes, sorry.
That's okay. It's not you. It's been happening. So I think I need to speak a little louder. My bad.
No problem. Thank you. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
With the total of 4 yeses, we will move to executive session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Marciano, I'm not sure if you're joining executive session, but you are still in regular session. Just an FYI.
Maxwell, thank you very much. No, I am not joining. Independent counsel is in that, I'm sure.
looks like we're all back. I will do the roll call. Chair Coolidge,
Present.
Vice Chair Olson,
Present.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Here.
Commissioner York.
Here,
Thank you. We have a quorum. It is 11:13 a.m. and the chair is, or the floor is yours, Chair.
Just as a reminder, we are discussing item C4, the enforcement proceedings. Any updates, questions, or comments from my commissioners on this item?
no, not for me.
Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, wait.
Oh.
Uh,
Commissioner French Contreras?
Yeah, Director Casillas, there used to be a list on the website about Stewart rulings,
That is correct.
and that hasn't been updated for a while. Is it possible for that to start being updated again so that we know what those are as they're coming down the pike and it's public information?
Commissioners, I will check with the department's IT division to reinstate that process, and I will work with the racing stewards to implement. So we will get it back on track.
That would be great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. And Ms. Holland, I recognize your hand is raised. I can move you down to the public comment if needed, but as we discussed earlier, we're not going to be having public comment at this. And I realize you're the party in discussion, but we're just going to hold to the rules on that. Mr. Hartgraves, do you have an update on your end on this?
Yes, apologies, Chairman Coolidge. I just wanted to indicate to Commissioner French Contreras that we do have stewards rulings and reports on our website. They were moved under our public records portal, and I'm happy to share a link to our commission with that to where you can find those reports.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Thanks, Max. Okay, Mr. Gassman, can you give us an update on the International Horse Racing Integrity Act?
Yes, Chair Coolidge and Commissioners, Leroy Gussman, National HBPA. I guess I have nothing new to report. They're still waiting on the decision from the 5th District Court. So nothing new. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you, sir. Drop down to the permittee reports. American Greyhound Racing. Arizona Downs.
We have another report.
Thank you. County Fairs. Rito Park.
I think you skipped county fairs.
No, ma'am, I didn't, but if that's you, let's go for it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's we're after Arizona Downs on the agenda. Thank you, Commissioner Coolidge, and congratulations to Commissioner Contreras and Commissioner Olson. I want to thank you first for approving our county fair days to run at Turf Paradise. We look forward to working with them. And I also want to just chat for a second about, I'm not sure if the commissioners are all aware that Pima County Fair Horse Racing Commission, we're the only county commission statewide whose commissioners are appointed by a county board of supervisors. As such, our role is somewhat different than other county fair organizations structured as nonprofits reporting to their organization's board of directors. With the recent announcement of no horse racing for the 2024 race season to be held at Rito Race, to discuss this matter and report the contents of our discussion and any possible action items to our respective supervisors. Again, a governmental body. Our meetings are open to the public and we provide opportunity for the public to speak at our call to the public. Our agendas are posted on the county website at pima.gov, and we will keep you, commissioners, as well as Director Casillas, apprised of any outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Drop back down to Rito if they're around. Mr. Mayor, Turf Paradise.
Thank you, Chairman Coolidge, Chairwoman-elect Contreras. Chairman Coolidge, thank you for the years of service as chair. That's not an easy seat to sit.
Appreciate it.
With the completion of today's live race program, Turf Paradise will have finished the first 2 weeks of its 57-day race meet. Did receive early this morning correspondence from the department concerning matters of concern to them, which are divided into 2 levels. One is highest concern, others are pending deficiencies. With both, we are working to comply, and I will keep the director informed, who will in turn inform the commission of how we are progressing with all of that. Would like to bring to the attention of the commissioners that a week from today, next Thursday, the stake race, the Walter Kluwer Handicap, is named after the founder of Turf Paradise. I invite the commissioners to come out and present the trophy. I think it would be a nice occasion. Any other questions I might answer, I'm available. Otherwise, I need to go trackside. We have a storm moving in.
No, sir. Know that you need to go take care of that. Just wanted to reinforce my earlier comments on the diligence that y'all have put together to get that track up to speed and do the right thing. So please continue what you're doing, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We'll drop down to the Optional Industry Stakeholder Association updates, Arizona Counties Racing Association. Mr. Yother, do you want to knock out B and C? Or excuse
Yes,
me,
sir. Yes, sir, I would. First of all, I'd like to thank you for your service as chair of the commission, and I'd like to congratulate or give her my condolences to George Contreras. With that being said, commissioners, directors, Casillas, I still am in a state of frustration about a couple of things with racing in Arizona. One being Turf Paradise. They're applying for new OTBs, which is great. That helps increase their purse handles and so forth. Yet on the other hand, they're saying they're not running the meet after May 31st. I'm a little bit confused and feel an obligation to ask the commission to maybe get with these different tracks, including Rillito, what their intentions are, Arizona Downs, what their intentions are, and give us something that we can go to our horsemen about, that they can plan for their futures. I mean, it's just a exercise in frustration as far as I'm concerned, and addressing a few of the things of that need to be done on the track. I agree with the commissioner that brought up the fact that they need some completion dates of when they're going to get them completed. I know Carlos is and Director Casillas is working close with Turf Paradise to get these things done, but we're still we've got issues with the rail, the turf track, the backside, and it just seems like there's a sense of urgency to get all this down on paper, what needs to be done, but no sense of urgency on getting it completed or even giving us a date of completion. And, you know, I was in the construction business for years, and the size of the job and the direction of what needed to be done dictated the number of employees that you needed. And I still feel that Turf Paradise is undermanned to be able to get these things done. They've got one maintenance guy. They got 4 guys on the track who are somewhat inexperienced, but supposedly they've handled that. We will see this weekend, if the weather permits, that they can get a guy in here that knows what he's doing to work with the track people. And we still got lighting issues on the track. We've got all kinds of issues, and I'm just frustrated with it. And I know you guys are getting tired of hearing me, but that's pretty much my report. My horsemen have an obligation to their families and to themselves to earn a livelihood, and without knowing what's going to happen next week, next month, next year is totally unacceptable. So I'd like to find out if you guys could maybe ask and get some kind of definition of what some of these future plans are for Turf Paradise, Rito, and Arizona Downs. With that, I'll get off my soapbox and thank you for answering questions anybody has. As far as the Quarter Horse Racing Association, we're doing well. We're getting our races in. It's still a struggle to be able to figure out how many race days that we're going to get. And as we go forward, we're using them. We have to stay on top of the draws every day to figure out who's drawing what races, thoroughbreds or quarter horses. We're still fighting with the getting a quarter horse to be used. And I understand all the ramifications on that, but also as far as the HBPA is concerned, our membership is frustrated, our board is frustrated, and we're just trying to figure out what's going on and see if we can get some real answers. With that, I'll entertain any questions.
Thank you, sir.
Chairman, this is Jerry Sims. Perhaps I could address some of Mr. Yother's comments.
Sure, take a minute.
Sure. First, thank you also for serving and going through all this. It's much appreciated. And good luck to the new chairman and vice chairman. I know it's not easy to deal with all these different parties. In the process of me trying to, by the way, first to addressing the people, first of all, Mr. Yother, there are other people working with Sal. It's not a one-man show by far. He has the authority.
I'm here, Jerry. You're not.
I'm on the phones and I know what's going on, everything. For example, a sauna had to be built for the jocks room, and a construction company was brought in to do it. This morning, there are things for the fire marshal. We hired an outside company to do the list. So I promise you I'm in the trench. Anyway, it's in going through the process to find a new owner, because I do want to retire. I met with someone yesterday, and so it's more advantageous to have the track running, and it's my plan not to end the end of May. My plan is to try the best I can to get it sold to someone that's going to run a racetrack. And so in that process, I need to have the racetrack running, working with the HBPA. And so that is what my goal is. And that's what I'm working on. I have a number of people interested, and all of them that I'm working with right now want to run a racetrack. So we need to have continuity. If they see a bunch of fighting and all kinds of everything going on, and all kinds of issues, nobody wants to walk into that. So we're trying to work with everybody, but I don't plan right now. My health is good. I don't plan to end it on May 31st, if that helps you.
Thank you. Mr. Yother?
Yes. So, Jerry, that means you're applying for dates for the fall meeting, and I can pass that on to my board and my horsemen.
Right now, that's my plan. I don't need to do it now. We're not applying for them now. We have plenty of time, but yes, that is my plan.
Lindy, Trace, Quat, Cinco, what are we gonna do? 3?
Miss Holland, your mic is live.
Can I add one thing to that?
Yes.
One thought.
Yes, sir.
As you get older, the stress of things that come up are very, very difficult. And so my plan to do what I just said takes into consideration that this is not going to be a very, very, very stressful season and all kind of issues. If those things happen, I just want to be clear, I can't go through any more of it. And that would end it. But if it can run smoothly, you have issues, we'll deal with you. We want to help. If there's something we're not doing right, we want to take care of it. That's all fine. It's just the stress of fighting and all kind of stuff, that's the stuff that I can't and won't continue with. So hopefully that answers.
Thank you, sir. We'll split the middle here with the Arizona Thoroughbred Breeders Association.
Yes, this is Wendy, the Secretary Treasurer of the Arizona Thoroughbred Breeders Association. I just wanted to let everybody know that today is our Arizona Breeders Stakes. They're race 7 and race 8, and I invite everybody to come down and support these Arizona breds. Thank you.
Appreciate it, ma'am. And Jockeys Guild.
Chairman Cook and Commissioners, it's Daryl here, Western Regional Manager for the Jockeys Guild. For the last few months, it's been a real good, positive working relationship between the Guild and the department, Juan Estrada and the stewards, in trying to assure that racing at Turf Paradise is a safe and sanitary environment for the horses, jockeys, and the hard-working horsemen and women of Arizona, for which they truly deserve. And we will continue to do so. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Dropping down to item 7, item D. Any of my commissioners have anything to add on future agendas? Commissioner French Contreras.
I don't know if this will be an agenda item, but I just want to mention that at the last meeting, I asked about the empty seat that we have on our commission. And I've done some research and learned that there's actually no applications that have been submitted. It does require, that empty seat does require someone with knowledge or experience in racing or harness racing. So if you have an interest in having the seat filled and having a commission that can work fully, we need applications. So you can reach out to the staff, you could reach out to me, we can point you to the website. It's a little lengthy, the Department of Boards and Commissions for the Governor, but put announcements out on your boards, put them in your stables, and let's get applications in for this empty seat. Thank you.
Vice Chair Olson.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to take one last opportunity to thank you for your service over these past years as chair and leadership. I don't think it can be said enough, the amount of time and effort you've put in. So just wanted to thank you again and wish Commissioner French Contreras good luck, and we're here to support you.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Commissioner Contreras.
Commissioner Olson, you beat me to it. I too wanted to thank Chairman Coolidge for a tireless and thankless job. I've learned a great deal watching him, and I could only begin to hope that I can do as well of a service to this commission as he has done, and I sincerely appreciate you.
Thank you very much. And again, wish you nothing but the best. And if I can help connect any of the dots or bring you up to speed on anything, you know how to find me as always.
Thank you.
And lastly, we'll drop down to the call to the public. Looks like I have 4 people signed to speak. Dr. Filippo, do you want to kick us off here?
Sure, thank you. Dr. Joanne DeFilippo, and I'm actually speaking to you today as a racehorse owner, not as the commission at all. I want to stress that, you know, with what recently happened with Rayito Racing and the failure of them to submit audits, and as a result of that, the Pima County Administrator, Jan Lesher, announced that there would be no racing. One of the things that's disturbing, and I believe this reflects what Mr. Yothers was saying a little bit earlier, is that there are accountability standards that are built into contracts, that are built into the way we do practices of business. When those standards are ignored or And I will even put this in a positive sense, maybe not acted upon because they don't want to hurt the industry at the time. So you kind of turn a blind eye. What ends up happening, though, is those instances can become exacerbated as exactly what happened. And now we're looking at 3 years of audits that were not turned in. As a result of that, we have a contract that we couldn't get race dates. And that's not the only thing. I want to commend Commissioner Contreras for announcing the empty seat. No one has ever talked about that before. And it's these types of accountability practices that we need to clean up, close up, so that we can move forward and having a viable industry. If it means that we have a legislative action that dictates what we must do with simulcast OTB funds, then we follow that legislative, that judicial action. We don't turn a blind eye to it. And I thank you for listening.
Appreciate it, ma'am. Mr. Nolan?
Thank you, Chair. And likewise, I wish to thank you for your service. We really do need leadership, and it's been good. We've seen some awareness that's come to the foresight. More people have come to see what condition is. Mr. Sims talks about a lot of things that need done. Mr. Yoder trying to bring awareness to how did it ever get this way? 20 years of neglect, and you can't fix it without proper staffing. Those of us that are back there, we don't see the army of people trying to bring that facility into I don't even know what to say. It's kind of deplorable, and it's in my neighborhood. But I also wanted to bring up something about this Thursday meeting. You have 2 more Thursday meetings. I don't know if they're scheduled for March and April, but Thursdays are race days. Thursdays are entry days. And I thank you for having a long executive session. It gave me time to run home after my obligation in the racing office. It happens at 10 o'clock. Races close entries, and then we draw. So if in the future, when we're looking at scheduling commissions, I think you'd have a lot more participation if it's on a non-race day. It's just a suggestion. I've suggested this in the past. We're trying to get enough participation. We have a good group of horsemen that deserve to be heard a lot more than when they're stymied by time and can't participate. But you've heard enough from me over the last. I thank some of the regulators that I have seen come around and try to say, hey, the lighting, why is the lighting so bad, and things like that. Please continue. It's a start. We have a facility that was once beautiful that has taken a turn to not quite be so beautiful, and that's only through neglect. So more awareness. I appreciate the open meetings. Again, if you can maybe try to schedule the March and April, because Thursdays are scheduled race days. I think Fridays, like last month, was a turnout of, because people didn't have an obligation to be at the racetrack. Anyhow, I thank you. Thank you for your service, and other commissioners also. Thank you for your service, and those regulators that do come out and trying to help bring awareness to bring it up to par. I thank you all very much. And thank you.
Appreciate it, sir. Ms. Holland?
Hi there. Yes, thank you again. My hand was raised once you guys came out of executive session because I had a question. I want to make sure that I understood the Attorney General's response regarding the situation that I presented at last month's meeting. And again, I'm giving LASIX on the racetrack. I'm working today. I'm trying to listen. I apologize that I got unmuted there for a second. So I agree with Mr. Nolan. It would be nice if we could make this a non-race. We have training hours until 11:30, and so it's tough. With that, my question for the Attorney General is this: did I hear correctly that if a person is charged or is found at fault, and they have a hearing with the stewards, but they don't like the results that they got, they can appeal it higher in the department. And then once the higher ups of the department decide on the case, there's no more opportunity for adjudication by anybody in the department, is question number one. My second question is, if the case at hand that I'm referring to did not have a steward's hearing and it was just sent straight to the top, isn't that a problem within the standard operating procedure of how this should go? And if someone could comment or make sure that I'm clear on what I heard the Attorney General stating, I would greatly appreciate that.
Is the Assistant Attorney General still on?
Yes, Chairman Coolidge.
Ma'am, do you have an update as far as that goes? I know we're in public comment, but
I can respond. Certainly,
Yes, ma'am.
Chairman.
Thank you.
The steward's rulings can be immediately appealed to the director, the department, under the rules, administrative code rules. And if an appellant believes that appellant is aggrieved, that appellant can appeal to the commission within the times prescribed. And because there is an allowance of an appeal from the steward's rulings under the rules, it does not appear that the regulations require a full-blown hearing before the stewards in order for an appellant to appeal to the director.
So can I just, I want to
And
make
I'll-
something understandable, that any ruling that comes down from the stewards prior to having any evidence or hearing, I can immediately appeal that ruling to go higher up without having anything be heard. So anybody that has a ruling with the stewards and maybe has a grievance with the stewards can just bypass them and appeal this straight to the director. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, and I'm not going to give you advice to a public member. And what I will say in this instance, there were licensees that appealed under the rules, and that went to the director, and an informal settlement conference was held. I'm not going to say in all instances a hearing does not need to be held before the stewards. You'd have to look at the particular circumstances and the grievances or the findings by the stewards. It's fact dependent. And I'm not going to give any further advice. I mean, this isn't advice, it's just based on the proceedings that occurred, of which you commented at the last.
Correct.
meeting.
And I just am asking for, I just want clarity. So if somebody asks me, what did we learn from today? I want to make sure that I'm stating the correct information. And I had some confusion on that. So thank you.
Certainly.
Thank you. We'll drop down to Ms. Campo.
Okay, sorry, I was trying to unmute and feed horses at the same time. Okay, so I want to thank you guys for the many years of hard work and keeping us moving forward in this industry. And I really don't have too much to say other than I'd like to defer the remaining of my minutes to Bob Hutton. And I just, again, want to say thank you so much for everything you guys have done and help us move in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Hutton is signed up to speak. So Mr. Hutton, why don't you fire away?
Thanks, Mr. Coolidge. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay, good. First, something presented itself right now that I can't ignore. Mr. Yodler had some very good questions, and Mr. Sims addressed them. And it reminded me of if you don't go ahead and do what I want you to do, I'm going to take my ball and go home. I think that was very unfair to say that to Mr. Yodler. I know you guys haven't heard from me in a while, but it's been extremely hard to stay silent watching an industry that has flourished for decades in Arizona being gutted like a fish. And I just want to look at, we look at what's been affected by the abbreviated subpar so-called race meet going on at Turf Paradise. The people that are affected are the betting public. Short fields, no turf course to speak of, make the turf product unappealing to race fans. The lack of customer service and concessions has driven the racing customers away from the racetrack. When a customer has a bad experience, they go and tell their friends. The vendors, feed companies, horse hauling companies, farriers, vets, they're affected by this abbreviated horse meet, not knowing what was going to happen till the last minute. Breeders, who wants to breed a horse in Arizona if you know there's not going to be a race meet? I mean, the breeders have been victims of this for years now, and it's a daily reality that they look at. Trainers, they don't know if they're coming or going. In a short meet, they have a hard time securing housing, as most times apartments require a 6-month lease. So a 3 or 4 month lease is not palatable to them. So they have a hard time getting exercise riders because those people didn't know what was going to happen. Hard to solicit new owners when you go ahead and you bring them out to a place that the urinals are covered with plastic bags and there's no food or alcohol service to speak of because people sit around and wait, sometimes 3 hours if they ordered a hamburger. The owners that would like to go out to the racetrack and enjoy a day at the races can't do it. The state of Arizona is affected by the field sizes and the lack of betting with the RWA. We know the horsemen's obligations are to contribute to the meet, bring their horses and pay their help and vendors. If horsemen don't act correctly, stewards have the ability to exercise their authority. If the permittee doesn't act right, the commission has the authority to correct the situation. But I'll get back to that in a second. I've taken calls from people in Texas, Florida, Kentucky this week, asking me what is going on out there. We're an embarrassment to the rest of the country. And the opening day situation when they expected 700 people and 10,000 people showed up and nobody could get any service. And I'd just like to read a quote from Turf Times back in 2000. The track's new mission statement focused on 3 points, Sims said. Turf's goal would be to enhance the racing experience, reposition the track to be a premier entertainment attraction and venue for events to actively contribute to the welfare of the Phoenix community while treating our guests with superior customer service. I don't think that's happening. But I did want to get to the point as far as
Bob, I'm gonna give you 2 more
R19-2.
minutes for Ms.
Okay,
Campos' time. Just FYI.
That's all I'll need. R19-2-104. A permittee shall maintain the grounds in a neat, clean, and safe condition. If a steward determines that the permittee is not in compliance with this section, the steward shall require that the permittee immediately bring the grounds into compliance. The next thing is, this is under the Racing Commission Director Division Powers and Duties. Number 2, prepare and adopt complete rules to govern the racing meetings that are required to protect and promote the safety and welfare of animals participating in race meetings, to protect and promote public health, safety, and the proper conduct of racing and pari-mutuel wagering, and any other matter pertaining to the proper conduct of racing within the state. That is number 2 on the commission's rules. So when some of the commissioners, and I know some of the commissioners are probably think, what, we can't tell him how to run his business. You can. You actually have the authority to go ahead and tell him what is unacceptable and what is acceptable. And you do have the power. And you have the power in the Department of Racing answers to the commission. The commission does not answer to the Department of Racing. And so with that being said, the HPPA has a tough job. and not everybody's going to enjoy their decisions. But, you know, the people that are complaining about who's been elected to the board, they need to vote, and they need to get out there or get involved, because it's a tough job. I served as president for 6 years. It's thankless. But with that being said, thanks for your time, Chuck. I appreciate your service. I know it hasn't been easy, but I appreciate you letting me speak today.
Yes, sir.
Chairman, this is Jerry Sims. In fairness, may I?
Mr. Sims, I'll put you on the speaking list. We have one more person, and then I can add you at the end. Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Braddock.
You think they could just talk? Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I would just like not to take issue with Mr. Hutton or Mr. Nolan, although one could easily do so, and it would be a very simple act to do so. But I would like just to say, Mr. Nolan talks about the people who work at Turf Paradise. I work at tracks all over the country, from Virginia to Northern California. And I am astounded that Mr. Nolan would say the people who are working at Turf Paradise aren't working hard. We are working very hard indeed. And I'll tell you one other thing as well. I speak with horse players in my job 24/7, 365, even when I'm not being paid, to try and promote racing in Arizona. And people know we have challenges right now and we have some short fields, but I can tell you people are interacting. People are interested in what's going on, and I feel that as the meet develops and hopefully we get slightly bigger fields, we do have the support of horse players around the country, around the world, and in Arizona. For Bob Hutton to suggest otherwise is facetious, doesn't even begin to cover it. I'm sorry, he is wrong. And in fact, I would challenge Mr. Hutton and Mr. Nolan. Mr. Hutton, Mr. Nolan, come up and see me one day. Come up and see what we do on social media. Come up and see how we interact with people. Ask yourself, why are we getting 10,000 plus views a day on our social media? Why are people like FanDuel TV going out of their way to help us promote the racing meet? It's because people like myself and other people who work at Turf Paradise do care about our customers. We do interact with our customers, and we try to give them a positive view of racing, not only now, but for the future. As I say, everyone knows we have challenges. Nonetheless, for them to be constantly highlighted and berated by two people who bluntly should know better, and if they want to contribute positively to Arizona racing, let's bring it on so we can all excel and all get better. But quite bluntly, contributions like that achieve nothing and contribute absolutely nothing positively towards our future at a time when we should be trying to find more common ground instead of fighting each other. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, sir. Mr. Sims, couple of minutes.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. You know, I'm sorry that Mr. Hutton is so disgruntled. His facts are just plain wrong. He was off on opening day by over 7,000 people. Just throws numbers out. I'll put our staff up against any track. I've been to Del Mar for years, Santa Anita, other tracks. I can tell you, I would put our staff up against any one of them. They have a dedicated, hardworking staff. It's when I came in, and he quoted from 24 years ago, I put millions and millions of dollars. If you'd have come into it then, you'd have seen the clubhouse, turf club look like a bus station. And I spent millions of dollars, and I still spend millions of dollars. It gets lost in the size of the facility, but we have a great staff, and we have a lot of people coming because Northern California racing is going away. Whatever it is, April, I think they extended it to something like that, April or May. They'll be gone. We're getting a lot of horses from Southern California. We expected to get about 700 or 800 horses for this meet. I think there's 1,200, 11 or 1,200. That includes pony horses. but we're getting a lot more horses than we expected. And I get a lot of great comments. And I'm sorry, Mr. Hutton, thanks for your service at the H3PA, but you're just, to me, it feels like you're just disgruntled. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thanks for the
Okay,
time.
thank you. We'll move down to the announcements. The next scheduled commission meeting will be in person at 10 a.m. on Thursday, March 14th at 100 North 15th Avenue, Suite 302, Phoenix, Arizona, and via Google Meet, and the subject basic decorum. That said, I will move for adjournment.
Olson second.
I'll make or second to adjourn. Did we get a motion?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll second.
Thank you. With the motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner Olson and by Commissioner French Contreras, I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
Thank you. The time is 11:53 a.m. and this meeting has adjourned. Thank you. If everyone can exit the meeting.